Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
Association and this station.
And now, live from the TCL broadcast studios, it's Joe Souchere and Patrick Royce with Sports Talk.
Reavers and or rookie.
Yes, sir.
See if you can find out what street that van was on in Toronto, the name of the street.
They got some wonderful gathering areas and neighborhoods, Greek town, and all kinds of different areas there where people.
Isn't Toronto home tonight too? Yep, Boston at Toronto, 6:00.
In hockey, yeah. I wonder.
Boston leads 3-2.
Will they delay it? I wonder. I don't know. They also have basketball series coming back home because they're 2-2 with Washington. I don't know when they play again. Probably.
Is Milwaukee still alive?
Yeah, they just tied it. They held on gamely against the Celtics after blowing a big lead. They ended up winning by 2.
Oh, then there was the controversy in Milwaukee that some taco joint wouldn't seat the Greek freak.
Antetokounmpo
Wouldn't let him in.
Yep.
Too tall?
I don't know.
No, they didn't serve him. They just let him stand there for 10 minutes or whatever.
Because they thought what?
No, they just didn't pay any attention to him.
Well, they didn't know their basketball.
Exactly.
Kind of like the Krabby Coffee Shop.
Yeah,
they just would let it. You have to get up there.
6'11" guys, we serve them immediately.
Joe, I got your information.
What's the street?
A spokesperson for Toronto Police said the white van left the road near Yonge Street and
Yonge Street. It's a very famous
Yonge.
Yeah, Yonge. It's a very famous street there. That's a gathering spot along bars, restaurants, shops.
And Finch Avenue West, and continue down the sidewalk, striking various pedestrians.
Yonge Street is their go-to. What kind of wide?
Damn near might be the Nicollet Mall type thing.
Yes, only much busier.
Yeah.
Much busier not much busier than either of these downtowns would ever dream of being. So, I don't know if there's anything in the Twin Cities that could be comparable to Yonge Street. So.
Not Nicollet Mall?
No, not really.
Not Nicollet Mall. Nicollet Mall if the Super Bowl's in town.
Right.
Maybe.
So you're not surprised that they got rid of Fletcher?
No, I think everybody kind of thought that it was time for Leopold to offer the patrons a scalp. It was interesting to me that even last year before the playoffs, first of all, the people thought they were going to beat St. Louis, and they thought that team had a chance to do something. This year, because it's the Cup last year, and everybody was all fired up. I could feel it. I could just feel it around with people. They weren't fired up at all this year. I think Suter getting hurt had a lot to do with that. But and then of course Parisi too. But there was a real we're gonna get beat sentiment, didn't you think?
Yes, we were on our heels.
Yeah, and then they got badly outplayed 2 games in Winnipeg. The public. So all of a sudden, you're not going to get a huge. This year, their renewal was 98%. 98%. This year, you're going to get low 90s. I would say you're going to get some attrition this year. That's what I felt from fandom. And I'm not mingling with them a lot, but I just.
What are we in, the 18th year of the club being here?
18th year, 17th season. There was one season lost completely to the
honeymoon
lockout.
is not ended.
Well, it was ending. It was ending in 2011-12. There were lots of empty seats. There were crowds being announced in 17,000s, and it was much less than that. There were 12,000 people showing up at the end of that season. They were going to get a big hit in season tickets. They'll admit that. They were, they were down to in the 14,000s. I think they were going to go less than that, And then he signed Suter and Preece, and it's been a gold mine ever since the last 6 years. I think there were two They came back from the lockout in January. They only played a 48-game season. I think at the start, there was like two non-sellouts in the first 4 home games, and there hasn't been a non-sellout since in 6 years. So 5 years, 5+ years. So. But didn't you feel it? I didn't feel, except for baby Matt Mikulski Jr., I did not feel the fire.
No, what you're saying is you didn't feel anything.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
And I don't know if this is an indication of what you're talking about, Pat, but walking around about an hour before the arena, just walking through the crowd, I did not see a single Wild shirt, jersey, anything. Not one. Well, and I looked because I wanted to see if anybody was going to show up.
Luke Dillon, age 7, Woodbury, Minnesota, hit it. He told his dad. He said, "There's no Wild fans in Canada."
Yeah,
he says there's no support. He blamed the victory on the defeat on the lack of support in Winnipeg because he said Winnipeg fans were down here and we didn't have any fans up there. And I think he's right.
We had one that made the ride.
No,
he did not wear Wild garb.
He was a neutral observer in the press box. Okay. That's right. Mm-hmm.
And that building does not have the open concourse, huh?
Not from what I could see, because underneath us was the third level, which, by the way, tickets were going for $450 for the third level.
Well, the place is small. It's intimate, right?
It's like shy of 15,000, I believe.
Well, it is over 15. But
is it?
Just barely.
15.3.
Yeah, and they that's one of the big reason the NHL didn't want to move a team out of Atlanta, 5.5 million people, and move it to Winnipeg, 700,000 people. That was because of that. But B, it was the size of the arena. But they finally figured out, let's see, we can either sell 15,000 every night in Winnipeg or 7,000 every night in Atlanta. Right. So we'll go to Winnipeg. So, but it's kind of unfortunate that Nashville and Winnipeg now have to play in the second round.
Because they're probably the two best teams left.
They had the most points, those two teams. So, but that's the way it works. And I think it's good for rivalries. I don't have any problem with it. The trouble is, I thought that this would really ignite a Wild Winnipeg rivalry, but it didn't last long enough to do that, right? No. I mean, it was such a mismatch that it didn't really.
There's just something wrong with our boys. It just.
Well, apparently owner Leopold agrees with you. Now, he has been contacted. I contacted him, asked him to do an interview at 3:00 with Suture and me, and he said, "No one-on-ones today or one-on-twos," he said in his response. So just what he said at the 12:30 little meeting with the media is all he's going to say, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Timberwolves did not surprise me with a victory.
They surprised me how well they played. They made shots. Yeah. You know, everybody's trying to figure out, oh, man, what'd they do differently? They made shots.
Why don't they do that every night?
Yeah, right. Well, it's if the other team didn't make their shots and they made theirs. That is the tiebreaker in basketball. I keep bringing that up. Goaltending in hockey, pitching in baseball, and making shots in basketball. Those are the things that create upsets.
Well, the Twins didn't have any of the bullpen, really.
Oh, they were terrible.
Yeah,
well, that was a bad series. That team stinks. That they let sweep in 3 games.
At least they got to play in such a nice facility.
Well, yeah, but I'm sure after you've been where you've been, after you froze to death for 2 weeks, and then you were in San Juan and waiting for the lights to go out playing 16 innings, you probably thought Tampa was paradise. Now they're in Yankee Stadium where, I looked it up, in this century, they're 19-50.
Wow.
In the Bronx.
Wow.
19-50. Go get them, boys.
In the 21st century.
In this century, since 2000.
That'd be the 21st century.
That don't count the playoffs. They've won 2 playoff games there.
Well, should have been 3 with the dub with the...
Phil Cuzzy. We're still mad at Phil.
Yeah.
But they've won 2 playoff games, and they lost 8, 9. I think they're 2-9 there in the playoffs, so that'd be 21-50. They had 21 and 68. No, what did I say? They were 19-50.
Yeah.
21 and 59, I think.
You have a calculator on your phone.
No, I'm doing it in my head.
Right. He's quicker than a calculator.
21 and 59. The great Monty Crison has passed away. The Reptile King, always in a. You guys had him on about twice a year. But
Monty had reached the status of he told us
that's
when
he was
on.
coming. But I only got to know Monty very well about the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. Because when Mighty Mac Mikulski was running the scheduling of the show,
yes,
Monty would show up and he'd be on stage, right? Mm-hmm. And then when it was turned back to Matthew Mikulski, Sr., Monty'd be waiting 10, 12 minutes in the back room to get on the most overbooked show in state fair history.
Yes.
And Monty and I got to tell each other some tales and got to know each other fairly well. And, of course, in Monty's background was his close relationship with many of the Vikings because he owned a club, or he ran a club out in Burnsville in the late 60s into the 70s, the wacky era.
Kind of a different era.
And he was driving the motorcycle when the Carl Kasulki accident took place, and Carl ended up paralyzed from the waist down. Monty, they were zipping along at 494 out by Minnetonka, heading to Mankato for the start of spring training camp, and car pulled out in front of Monty as he was, to turn left, I guess, to head into a left lane, and they hit it, and Carl went flying. But I was looking up some stuff that's been written on him. I got to read this. St. Paul Paper did a piece on Monty in 2008, and it referred to his days of owning the club. Mm-hmm. Where is it here now? He was he first bought a python when he went to a pet store. He was looking for a pet, and they ended up with a python named Ute. And he was running a club in Burnsville and bought the python in to add some flair to the joint. Now, this is the late 60s. Mm-hmm. This is the Vietnam era.
Right.
This is the days when we were reading about 100 kids getting killed every day, right? Okay. So we weren't worried about chickens, okay?
Right.
Chickens didn't bother us.
You can get a chicken.
Yeah, I can
You
get
can get a chicken. Well, in this club, which I don't believe had any lady, it was a private thing, okay?
Yeah, okay.
It was, people knew about it, but I don't even think they had a sign from what Monty told me. And there was probably 1,000 stewardesses living in apartments in Burnsville then. And there was a $100 fee to be a member, but that was waived for the stewardesses.
Yeah.
So it attracted a large group of young men, including most of the athletes in town, and that's how he got to know all the Vikings, okay? But part of the entertainment was he decided to bring in Ute, the python, and put him in a big black case. And then we'd throw a chicken in there with Ute, and we'd wager as to how long it would be before Ute ate lunch. So it was a different era.
Yes.
Okay, it was a different era. So, and then Burnsville caught wind of this, and they made him switch to a dead chicken.
That's not as bad as he thought, I guess.
So for the illegal gambling that was taking place, okay, you can still have the illegal gambling, but you need a dead chicken.
You just need to throw a golden plump chicken up there.
Could you kill the chicken in front of the snake? Or did the chicken have to enter the building dead?
I think the chicken had to be deceased upon arrival.
Okay.
But originally, we'd toss a chicken in. Now, PETA, you'd never get away with it now. But as I say, 1968, Vietnam, we had other issues, except chickens.
What a sea change career he made to go completely reptilian.
Yes, he did. Well, I think...
and then pass himself off as an expert.
Now, you guys spend a lot of time in church. What's the standing with the church when you spend that much time with snakes and reptiles? Are you guaranteed a place, down there?
Serpents don't come up that much.
They don't?
No. Kenny, of all of my favorite moment with Monty was the last time I saw him. We had him at the State Fair Spectacular since there's nothing else to do anymore with the State Fair Spectacular. So he brings out an alligator. We got 25 people there. He brings out an alligator. There's 150 people there immediately, including all these little kids. And it's not a very big alligator, and it's got his mouth taped,
Right.
And these little kids, 3 and 4 years old, they're rubbing the nose. They're all
they were up there.
Rubbing the snout of the alligator right there reaching up in front of that little stage there. And somebody took a picture, and Judd and I are both like 25 feet back. I'm like 20 feet back, and Judd's 10 feet behind me.
There was one time,
and these little kids are
he lived with an alligator.
I was out back. The traffic daddy was out back with his ladies, and we were, just passing the time of day, exchanging phone numbers, etc. And about 6 of the biggest guys I had ever seen came carrying the biggest, longest alligator I had ever seen.
For Joe Shaw.
And I immediately threw 3 of these ladies in front of me. I cowered behind
Georgie
this lady.
Costanza.
I can't believe the size of that thing. How's it even legal to own one of them? It's like a killing machine.
Monty had all the permits and UN licenses.
And plus, he was very proud of the longevity they had because people told him they would not live in captivity. Although, if one of them passed away, who the hell was going to say that was that's not the one you had last year. He had the yellow. That yellow python's the one that creeped me out.
That was 19 feet long.
That was the wrong color. That's the wrong color.
Right. That's the one that almost cost John Hyde a guitar.
None of those are. They're all the service of the devil. They're all. But didn't he also have a secret club right out there at the State Fair?
Monty's
in the back of his shed.
There's a lizard lounge in the back.
Because I seem to remember you guys trying to coax me over to Monty's secret club.
You could get a toddy in the back.
I think so.
And I'm thinking, there's no way in hell I'm going to go over to a club that's crawling with snakes and gators.
The beauty of it is Monty never stocked anything. It was always everybody else. All the other guys brought the stuff over. And you walked into the first day, and it was stocked fully. And you walked into the last day, and wasn't much left.
Kenny, my favorite part of that, too, was, we would go up, a bunch of us from the station when we were done.
That's all alleged, by the way. I'm sure the fair frowns.
I'm sure. Like lemonade and some cranberry juice,
this is
some
all
water.
The gospel truth.
The fair is already hustling, trying to get him to keep the snake show going.
A bunch of us walked up to Rookie's booth the last couple of years. 3 or 4 of us. He's always not there. I look at the wife. Where's Rookie? Monty's.
I need to go get some 5s.
As an investor in waxed hands, I'd be very upset that.
As an investor, I'm proposing that you unite with what's left of the reptile show and have wax hands and the snake deal come together.
Dipped snake tails, and hey, you want a snake tail with a wax? Here we go.
Did you have to go get 5s or 5ths?
A little bit of both.
Sports Talk will return shortly. But now, thanks to our great friends in Owatonna, Minnesota, at Federated Insurance, where it's their business to protect your business, and nobody does that better than Federated. It's Bruce Vail from the Wall Street Journal and Your Money Now.
Well, stocks bounced around quite a bit today. The major indexes were mostly lower at the close, but the indexes weren't too far off the opening numbers. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 14 points, closing at 24,448. The Nasdaq Composite lost 17 points. The S&P 500 gained less than 1 point. Sears Holdings Chief Executive Ed Lampert is offering to buy the Kenmore appliance brand and some other Sears units after the struggling company was unable to find other buyers for those assets. Mr. Lampert has offered to buy the units through his hedge fund, which owns a controlling stake in Sears. The Denver urban design and landscape architecture firm Civitas has received city council approval to move forward with the design of implementation plans and construction for the Lake Effect project to revitalize the Lake Minnetonka waterfront for the city of Wayzata. The project is intended to create a more beautiful area for residents' everyday use. It will, for the first time in 100 years, allow residents to walk the length of the downtown shoreline. I'm Bruce Vail with Your Money Now on 1500 ESPN.
Okay, thank you very much, Bruce. We're going to let you go check traffic here. This one's sponsored by Dickey's Barbecue Pit. And let's go up to 694, where you'll find eastbound off the throttle from 100 over the river and almost over to Highway 65. Let's call it University. The other direction, westbound 694, dealing with a wreck in the right shoulder after Central. That's why you're going to see slow stuff as you pass Silver Lake Road. Did I just say passed? I think I did.
I think you're good, though.
I was in Douglas County all weekend. What do you expect? Dickey's Barbecue Pit.
I'm your boogie man. That's what I am. I'm here to do whatever I can. Be it early morning, late afternoon.
Here's John Height.
They were playing this song as the snake went after the chicken.
It's sunny, and we're up to 69 degrees now in the Twin Cities. Chuck Fletcher out as GM and Executive Vice President of the Wild. Contract won't be renewed.
Johnny, you're a big hockey guy. What do you think? Are you on this, for this, or against it?
I'm for it. Needed to make some changes.
All right, good.
I'm here. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
There. Brent Flair.
Okay, Judd.
Brent Flair, Senior Vice President of Hockey Operations, will serve as acting GM while the team looks for a replacement.
Brent's better be looking for a job too, though. When you change the GM, you change the assistant GM. Apparently, the guy from Nashville, the number 2 guy at Nashville.
Wolves Rockets again tonight from the Target Center. Wolves won Saturday. Rockets have a 2-1 lead in the best of 7 series.
That place was raucous Saturday night. Just watching on TV. I wasn't there, but man, it was loud.
It was fun.
Yeah.
The Twins move on to New York now after getting swept by the Tampa Bay Rays. They'll kick off a 4-game series this evening. Tonight, Jake Odorizzi pitches for the Twins. Masahiro Tanaka goes for
Johnny, as a Yankee fan, you'll be pleased to know that we'll be talking to Susan Waldman at 5:03 today to give us our Yankee preview.
Fun. I'll listen to that.
She has the difficult task of being John Sterling's partner for every game. So.
That seems to get worse every year, too.
He gets crazier.
News notes from today. A man who entered a nearby home after fleeing from police surrendered after a standoff that lasted several hours last night in Roseville. The police chief there, Rick Mathwig, said officers responded to a report of domestic assault at the Lexington Apartments around 5:30 last night. The suspect fled before police got there, but Mathwig said he returned about 45 minutes later. Police determined the man was allegedly wanted for a previous felony domestic assault. Mathwig said he again fled the apartment building and entered a nearby home on Judith Avenue through an open garage door. Residents of the home were in the house at the time, but Mathwig said they barricaded a door to prevent the suspect from getting to the main level. They then exited the house. Mathwig said a SWAT unit was called to the scene in an effort to get the suspect to come out. He did come out about 10:30 last night. Mathwig said he did not have a weapon. Nobody was injured in the incident. On that story from Toronto, a white van killed at least 2 people, although there are reports.
We're up to 9, John.
Yeah, I haven't seen that officially, though. I keep seeing several reports of 9 people possibly as fatalities. At least 7 injured when the driver plowed through a busy Toronto sidewalk on this afternoon around 1:30 local time. Driver of the van was arrested after a standoff with police where on video from a witness he appeared to point a gun. He eventually went to the ground and was handcuffed by police. It happened just around 1:30 local time as large crowds of office workers were on lunch breaks. At least one witness described the driver as appearing to deliberately target victims on his roughly mile-long rampage. The driver, as I said, in custody.
Yonge Street is a hugely popular place, especially at lunchtime. I don't know, must be a decent day up there if everybody's out walking around.
It was beautiful looking from the film that I saw, or the tape I saw. From the world of medicine, a U.S. veteran has lost his swimsuit area, let's say, from a blast. Everything.
Ooh, how did he go?
From a blast in Afghanistan.
Well, that's the first question. Why are you laughing? How do you go when you lose it?
I don't know.
Carefully.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I would imagine they hit you up with something.
He has received the world's most extensive ever penis transplant.
Really?
You want to get that, Chris?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I thought I shut my phone
That's what happens when he has to go.
That's one of your brothers texting you with the answer, right?
No.
Oh.
So he got a new deal and a couple of guys to go with it.
He got even more than that. Hang on. Doctors said today he's recovering well. He should leave the hospital this week, saying they wanted to address an unspoken injury of war. Johns Hopkins University surgeons rebuilt the man's entire pelvic region, transplanting a penis, scrotum, and part of the abdominal wall from a deceased donor.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Where do you get the unit?
Well, he just said donor.
Oh, donor. Oh,
I get you.
You don't go to the swimsuit area store and browse through a catalog.
You're not going to
check models out.
This does open up possibilities.
Hey, I want the Wilt that's still Chamberlain model.
Yeah, right. Can you order it? Is it top shelf or is it like?
Give me that kickstand over there.
Used, slightly used.
I would guess the next guy who gets killed in an accident who's young and vibrant is probably who you end up getting.
We got the spring models for 2018 right over here.
You beggars can't be choosy.
Right.
The operation
The old, what did your wife decide? $9,000 worth of granite.
You got some countertops.
The operation took 14 hours.
Well, how's the joke go? I let the wife decide we have new countertops. Is it something like that?
Well, it's either $9,000 for this complete reconstruction or the new countertop.
How do you like the new granite, Joe?
The operation took 14 hours. The patient that wants to remain anonymous expected to recover urinary and eventually sexual function. Now, the transplant did not include testicles because, meaning no reproduction will be possible. The doctor said, we just felt there were too many unanswered ethical questions.
Well, you put some dummies in its place, maybe some plastic.
Sure, that costs extra, okay?
Just for balance.
Sure, I would think so, Kenny.
Some nautical nudicles. Remember those things?
Yeah, the dogs.
There have been 3 other successful penis transplants that have been reported, 2 in South Africa, 1 in Massachusetts.
How many unsuccessful? We're sorry. There's 72 of those.
Well, this is fantastic news, and this needs to become commonplace. Am I correct, John? This injury must happen a lot.
But is it like
this
hair?
Poor guy must have stepped on a mine or something.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'm sure that's exactly.
But is it like hair where you can get like extensions?
No, man, it's not. It's not like that.
Where are the extenders, please?
He's amusing himself, isn't he?
Really? I think so. Geez, it feels like it's 40 degrees in here. Wouldn't you agree? No, it's 85.
Good luck to the fella.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, this has got to give a lot of people hope, actually.
Let's let it happen.
I had a conversation out in the hallway with a fella wondering, should I take this story in? It's a good story, but who knows where it's going to lead.
No, John, stop acting innocent. You know exactly what's going to happen.
You could ask the fella. He was standing out here talking to me. So, a very odd story from Chicago over the weekend. An elderly woman was found pushing a shopping cart with a dead body in it Saturday night in the Chatham neighborhood on the south side.
Taking her friend for a walk?
Anybody she knew?
Officers responded to a well-being check at 7:53 p.m. and found the woman with the body of a female whose identity and age are unknown. The woman was taken to a hospital to get checked out, the woman pushing the cart. Police originally reported that the deceased was a male, but now say it was a female. No further information was immediately available as police were conducting a death investigation.
You know, John, it's a wide, wide world, and there's a lot of odd stuff that happens out there.
That's very true, and it's a good thing because we got to fill time here. You know,
Joe, earlier you were asking the name of the new royal.
It's Joe, isn't it?
No.
Oh, is it Kenny?
Nope.
Palace.
Palace.
Oh, it's not either Palace.
I just saw it online.
I don't think I believe in that.
No, I don't believe that. It's a boy.
Palais.
No, they don't. They usually don't go goofy.
They're not going to go foghornable on a king.
They got George. I don't think it's Palace.
I saw it. It was on Twitter. It can't be wrong.
No. Sears already is
Prince
closed.
William's wife, Kate, gives birth to son. Palace.
At the palace.
Well, that means that's what the palace
made
announced.
the announcement, you idiot. What is wrong with you?
Damn it.
Just a minute.
That's it. All right. Call Brad Lane in here. We want a 2-day suspension. You're on a 2-day suspension.
You're off the show.
2-day unpaid suspension.
Go to the prod. Go to the prod studio right now.
Was that real, Chris? You really weren't kidding?
Well, the way it was phrased in this breaking news.
Oh, there's got to be a lot more money.
Whatever Manny is doing right now, send him in your replacement.
I got 100.
Good run, too.
I got 100. There's an ace. I got an ace.
Here, let me hang on to it for you.
Oh, God. I had made it to April 23rd.
Read that
too.
again, Chris. Read that headline again.
No, because
So
you
we
guys
have
are
it
just
on
going to
tape.
rip me. No, we wouldn't do that.
Well, you were so insistent in
Well,
in
the
that
way
you
it
were
was
right.
worded, breaking Prince
Was there a
William's.
comma in there you might have missed?
Well, there was a semicolon.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
Hey, you know
You
what?
know who needs the brain scan?
You know what? Harmon Killebrew struck out once in a while, too.
You know
you're
who
not-
needs
no,
the
you don't get to.
Yeah, but he hit home runs, though, every once in a
who
while.
needs the brain scan, considering the options she could have had? Mrs. Reeves needs it. We want her to have a brain scan.
That's a good
Let's
point.
just see what the hell happened. What was wrong with her?
What happened there?
Yeah.
What are you, Mr. Ed or something? What's going on?
Let's get her own scan button.
Yes, right. All right. Let's.
So it's not Palace.
No, it's
that's not the name.
of the kid is
That's
not
where the announcement
Palace,
was
yeah.
made.
By the Palace.
No.
yeah.
Palace released an announcement.
You're off the air. You get off
that
the
was
air.
beautiful. I thought you were kidding at first. We're closing another Sears, by the way. Never mind. We'll get to that later.
point.
Is it in Palace?
All right, Johnny, I just contacted our guy Linneman in Toronto. Apparently,
Yes.
this is not the Young Street with which I'm familiar. It is the same street, but it's this. The Young Street I was talking about was fairly near downtown. This is well out in the sticks where this occurred. A place called the Finch area, I guess.
Okay. Got it. As I started to say, let me do this story before we get to the other stuff. There's another Sears closing in the Twin Cities.
Yes.
The
No.
one at Maplewood Mall.
Really?
It's now closing also.
How many does that leave?
Is the Mall of America still open?
Can't leave many, right?
Got to leave about
Ridgedale's got one, I believe. I got a code at Ridgedale.
St.
The
Paul's
at
got one.
I got the code at Ridgedale Sears. They've given them away for goodness sake. Goodness
Good catch.
sakes.
Good catch.
Yeah,
boy. I finished your sentence for you. Goodness sakes.
U.S. Customs and Border Patrol has fined a woman $500 for not declaring she was bringing a free apple into the United
That
States.
is the goofiest thing I've ever seen.
She got on her Delta Airlines flight from Paris. Crystal Tadlock said that flight attendants passed out apples and she put hers in a carry-on to save for her flight from Minneapolis to Denver. Her bag was randomly searched by customs. Tadlock said the agent asked her if her trip to France was expensive. When she said yes, he told her it was about to get more expensive and charged her $500.
What a word I can't say.
She should have punched the guy
What
right
a
in
word
the
I can't
face.
say.
Delta
She
says
should have gotten her $500 worth and hit him.
Delta says it recommends all passengers comply with customs regulations. Customs declaration forms ask passengers if they bring any fruits or vegetables into the country.
Imagine my dismay while waiting for a plane at some undisclosed location when I saw a customs guy and a dog walking around sniffing all the baggage. Imagine my dismay. Imagine my glee when the dog passed by me and sat down at the person next to me. That person opened up his luggage and inside was an orange. Imagine my relief, if you will.
Did you have a lot of oranges with you?
Well, I didn't have any fruit.
Yeah. So the dog was a vegetarian.
Definitely not a hippie dog.
Yeah, right.
A dad in Vietnam.
I don't like dogs sniffing around.
No.
We had that in Fort Myers the other when I was leaving there, and the line was hugely long, but they had a dog sniffing everybody, and then you could walk through. Mm-hmm. I don't like it.
I don't either.
If you go to the state fair on Law Enforcement Day, you're insane.
A dad in Vietnam helped his young son remove a loose tooth using an unusual piece of equipment, a crossbow. A video filmed this month in Lao Cai shows the father helping the young boy tie his loose tooth to the string of the crossbow. The dad then allows
cheap SOB.
Dad then allows the boy to pull the trigger himself, causing the string to snap forward and pull the tooth out of the son's
You better
mouth.
tie that knot tight, though.
Yeah.
On a young kid's tooth. Oof.
Take his whole head off.
Mm-hmm.
The father wrote, "This is how my son pulled his own tooth."
It made it all the way around the world. Huh?
That did. That story made it.
Have you
all the
ever?
way.
I've never tried to tie a string around a tooth. How's that work? How do you
like
do
tying
that?
a yellow ribbon around an old oak tree.
I don't know. I go to the dentist.
I go to a dentist.
Yeah.
Kenny.
Yeah. Greyhound says it's looking into how a bus meant to take passengers from Cleveland to New York ended up in Toledo, Ohio.
I like this story. I saw this one.
WEWS television reported the bus left Cleveland several hours late on Thursday. It was headed east through Pennsylvania when it started experiencing problems. Company says the driver was instructed to head back to Cleveland and get a new bus, but instead drove about 2 hours past it to Toledo. The driver then turned around and went back to Cleveland. Passenger Morgan Staley said they spent about 7 hours basically driving in a circle. Company says the passengers interested in a refund can contact customer service.
You know, yesterday I went to a movie and then I stopped at a takeout place and I'm not going to mention it, nor am I going to mention the company that would having people picking up food to take it to places.
Okay.
But these going by let's just say this. I would have been the smallest person working for that company. And I think when they're picking up your food, they're stealing a few of your French fries. That's what I think.
Sneaking in just to check the authenticity of the order.
There's some big folks there working for that outfit.
Washington State Department of Transportation said it was a training error that's to blame for what they're calling an inappropriate message on an electronic highway sign.
What did it say?
Ruslan Kozlov posted a photo to Facebook showing an electronic highway sign over southbound Interstate 5 about 1 mile before the exit to Jovito with a message that read simply, "You suck," with the letter U. Kozlov said the message appeared at about 1:37 in the afternoon. The Washington Department of Transportation acknowledged the incident in a statement saying, "This was an inappropriate message, and we apologize if anyone was offended."
If anyone was offended.
That's a non-apology apology.
Yes,
this was due to a training error and clearly a mistake. We're taking steps to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Hell.
Kenny, stop staring at me. Kenny keeps shaking his head at me. I'm getting a complex.
Hell, Twins fans, my favorite ever, one of those messages. The old fanogram at
Hell?
Mel at Met Stadium, you know, one letter at a time, boom, 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 boom. And the first message of the year was going to be, "Hello, Twins fans," with an exclamation point, and it said, "Hell, Twins fans." I like the first, a very complex message. The guy couldn't quite figure it out.
That supercomputer from
Dunk.
Yeah,
Dunk.
right. 3M.
Yeah.
Kenny, how about this one? A postal worker who prosecutors say hoarded away more than 17,000 pieces of undelivered mail in New York City.
Newman
told investigators he was just overwhelmed by the amount of mail he had to deliver. Gurmash Alexei was charged in Brooklyn with delaying or detaining mail. Federal officials say they arrested the 16-year-old employee after getting a tip. 10,000 pieces of mail were in his car, 6,000 pieces in his apartment, and 1,000 in his work locker. That one all right, Kenny?
Speaking of postal workers, where's Ingy? We haven't heard her.
Hey, let's leave well enough alone here.
Settle down.
Where's
We're fine.
Ingy?
Don't wake the sleeping baby.
I miss Ingy.
Hey, what
was
happens
Pat.
if the guy steals your mail and then you're charged interest because you failed to pay a loan on time?
Yeah, what if there was a check in the mail?
Yes, right.
I get checks in the mail. Well, what then?
Then you're not getting.
Do I look like a lawyer, Kenny?
Ingy, why don't you call during the ride and set them all straight?
Yeah. Harley Davidson is offering free motorcycles for people who join its summer internship program.
Wow.
8 college students or recent graduates will have the enviable task of being paid to ride a Harley and share their adventures on social media, and they get to keep the bikes at the end of the 12-week internship. The Milwaukee-based motorcycle maker says it'll teach the interns how to ride, compensate them for their work and travels, let them keep the bikes. Harley says it's looking for those that have the ability to create content on the fly, are creative, and have the talent to take...
John, do they have any Hondas? I'd like a Goldwing.
I don't think
I want to go Honda Goldwing.
That's a hell of a summer job.
You're not a Harley guy, Kenny?
No, of course not.
Okay.
What was that old joke you used to tell about how you find a lost Harley, or this involved oil leaks or something like that?
Just follow the oil leak.
They don't leak oil anymore.
Okay. All righty.
Potato. Right?
Well, Kenny,
Yeah, go ahead. Defend
You're one of
them.
those types that would take a quart of oil around and you see a Harley parked in front of a bowling alley and you dump it on the ground underneath it.
just for, like me with dead birds in the stadium. Yeah.
I'm going to find it.
All right, that'll be good.